Good morning, everyone. I believe we are live. Welcome to the Sunday morning edition of DoMoreLife Live. After a tremendous live stream yesterday, one of the best we've ever had here, in my opinion. I want to give another thank you to those who contributed after the video was over. There were some more contributions that came in, and just want to say another real heartfelt thank you to all of you for just making yesterday absolutely incredible. So thank you guys so much for being a part of the DoMoreLife family and for really supporting me during times of need. I appreciate it. Good morning, Griffin. I said hello to everybody else, but I did not catch you in the comments. So good morning to you, sir. I'm glad to see you and MetTech, Robert, New York Frank, Rocco, Tim. Everybody is funneling in here. We're going to talk about some interesting things. First, if you don't mind and you want to do something that's completely free that can help the channel, please hit that thumbs up button for me. That would be great. And feel free to drop a comment below this video at some point and let me know what you think about the topics we discussed. If you're watching this on replay, or even if you're watching it now when the video is published, please feel free to comment. I would love to see it. Cheap Charlie, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate that, man. Good to see you. Very good to see you. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much for the super chat. That's very much appreciated, man. I really appreciate it, and hope you are continuing to do well as you were yesterday. So thanks for joining the chat. I'm going to read you the description so you guys will know what we're talking about. And here we go. In today's live discussion, we have Thailand breaking news. And there is breaking news. Really, it's more breaking rumors than anything else. But we're going to talk about the rumors. We're going to discuss the rumors and speculation and the hype around those rumors and speculation. I spent quite a bit of time last night doing some research on some things. We're going to talk about those. I also have some news articles to read to back up positions. Phuket will push forward with its reopening. However, Pattaya's reopening is in question. While nothing has been officially published in the Royal Gazette, the Thailand Authority of Tourism, or TAT, recently expressed concerns over the July 1st, 2021 timeline for Phuket Sandbox Model. There was a direct quote coming from a TAT official. We'll discuss that in this video. Talking about the Sandbox Model. In addition, Pattaya's reopening scheme planned for October 1st, 2021 is now facing scrutiny from government agencies, which could potentially delay the reopening of Pattaya in October. And let's hope that doesn't happen. It appears that the CCSA, TAT, and other Thai government entities are being abundantly cautious with their plans to reopen for foreign tourism. Foreign tourism accounts for 20% of Thailand's annual GDP. Some analysts are saying that Thailand's tourism sector could not return to pre-C-19 numbers until 2026. I'm afraid those experts may have a valid point if Thailand continues to push its current travel restrictions into the future. Let's get the country vaccinated and watch the tourism industry thrive again. These are my opinions, and in no way am I criticizing the Thai government. I want to make that clear. These are my opinions, but I'm also going to back them up with factual information as well. So don't think I just coming up with stuff off the top of my head here. Filtho says, as you wander all through life, no matter what your goal, keep your eye upon the donut, not upon the hole, just a hole reporting in here. Thanks, Filthos. Tim says, why does it always sound like Thailand, and I mean the people in Thailand that make the decisions, has no clear plan? Is it all rumors and innuendo, no clear plan set forth? Because they have plans. They set plans, but they very often change those plans, and many times those changes show up at the last minute. Unfortunately, um, Philip Howe says hello. Hello, Philip. Good to see you. I'm doing great. I hope you are. Anon, good morning, sir. Good to see you. Thank you. I got your email yesterday. I really appreciate that. Sorry I didn't respond. I was trying to research some stuff for this video today because I really wanted to make sure I got out a lot of information. My blood pressure is doing very well. Thank you. Very well. I actually was so excited at the end of the live stream yesterday. My blood pressure was up a little bit. I had to kind of calm down a little bit, but much better day today. Much better feeling. And I gave my love at the beginning of the show to everybody, and I'll give it again. Love and respect for everybody that helped out yesterday. Gregory, what's up, buddy? He says, good morning from Sydney, Australia. And yes, Thailand does sound up and down in its decision making. And that's fair to say. Tim says that's exactly what I mean, Jeremy. Plans written in quicksand. And, Ross brought that point up too when he's talking about the sandbox model. They call it the quicksand model. There's a lot, there's a lot riding on this Phuket sandbox model, but there doesn't need to be, in my opinion. There doesn't need to be. It could work flawlessly. And it seems as though the people that are putting this stuff in place are people that are just so terrified of the illness, and the numbers don't lie. Just look at the numbers from the CDC. There's no reason, if you're reasonably healthy, I can't. I'm not going to comment any further on that. If you're old, of course, it would be a great idea to get your jab as soon as possible. If you have underlying health conditions, everyone, including the CDC, recommends to get jabbed. If you've had both jabs, I don't understand why you need quarantine. I don't understand that. If you're traveling to another country, you've had both jabs, why do you need to be quarantined? That's the question I want somebody to answer for me. Do people not believe that the jabs work? Is that what's happening? Is there it just logically doesn't quite make sense to me, why the over cautiousness of some countries to require a quarantine or a fixed location quarantine, when you have arriving foreign tourists who have been fully inoculated. Like, that's the whole point of being able to travel again. Is that's why people are getting fully inoculated. That's not the only reason. Of course, people are getting inoculated for their health. They want to stay away from the illness. But the fact of the matter is, like, what don't you trust about the full inoculation? That's my ultimate question. What is it that you invite people to your country and you still want them to stay in queue for a number of days, or you want them to stay in a fixed location for a number of days? For what? I don't, foreign tourists come to a country, and I'm not just talking about Thailand here, I'm talking in general. Come to a foreign country, you want to test them when they get there? Sure. Why not? Maybe you want to hold them up for 3 days just to make sure everything's okay. Put them in queue for 3 days. Give them a resort and say, hey, you got to stay here for 3 days before you can go anywhere else. I think everybody would be okay with that. That's still overly cautious, in my opinion. However, I believe most people would be okay with that. 3 days, taking out the test, as long as you're negative, you're good to go. You're fully inoculated. What more? I mean, that's the whole point of being inoculated, is to not is to not fear the illness, right? Anyway, it says Gregory says, looks like you had your first troll already. I expect to have lots of thumbs down today after the success we had yesterday. It would not surprise me in any way, form, or fashion to have an abundance of trolls today. So, not concerned with that at all. I love trolls. They're good for views. Farhan, he says, can foreigners get vaccinated in Thailand? How much does it cost? The answer is yes, and they can get vaccinated here in Thailand. The jab is available for foreigners. There's an app, not an app, a website to go to register for the jab, and I will be talking more about that later in the video. Now, they have proposed, in terms of cost, that this registration website is supposedly free to get the jab. But there are certain criteria you have to meet. I believe one is either you have to have a work permit or residential status in Thailand. Those are two things I know that you have to have, one or the other, in order to get a free jab. Now, the mod jab that Thailand has ordered 20 million doses of, that's coming in, or is that the Pfizer? It's one of them. I'm sorry. It's one of them. I think it's the mod. It's coming in, and they are working on pricing on it. The last news report I saw on that particular jab, I'm not sure if it was the CCSA or the Department of Disease Control. They wanted to keep the price for both jabs not exceeding 4,000 baht. That was their goal. Whether that happens or not, I'm not sure. But that was the last indication of information that I have regarding cost on that. Just got notification. Hello, Robert Matt. Good to see you, Ross. Good to see you. You have some news. We will wait for your news, buddy. Tim says, so us as Farangs cannot make plans for ourselves. Clarify that, Tim. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that, buddy. And I don't want to get off on a tangent if you're talking about something else. Yes, I need a sugar rush this morning, and I also have my water, so don't anybody get mad at me for drinking Coca-Cola, okay? Hey, Jose, good to see you, bud. Ross says they have been putting up giant billboards to get your appointment at local hospitals. They've been going up all week. That's awesome. If you're in the Rayong area, that's good. I also have some information. The BMA, the Bangkok Metropolitan Association, has finally been given clearance by the PM to open certain businesses. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Prep for it. Good to see you, man. Tim says, if you have gotten the jabs, that is all you as an individual can do. To the best of my knowledge, I think that's a factual statement, Tim. I don't know what more you could do either. Montelli, what's up, bud? There comes Montelli with his retractable statement that I have to remove. But it is what it. Look, man, you might be completely right, Montelli. You might be completely right. I don't know. I have no idea. I question it myself. I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand if you've had both jabs or the one jab version and you're inoculated, why the need for the queue? I don't understand. Mark says, hey, Jeremy, Thailand needs both to make his decision. I will be healed. I'm going to remove that one too because I don't. His name being in the comments, it's probably not a good thing. Robert has put the PayPal link and the Cash App up there. Shouldn't anybody feel like contributing, certainly don't feel the need to today after the day we had yesterday. But if you feel like contributing, I'll pin the link as always. Thank you, Robert, for putting that up. Still, the funds we collect this weekend are going towards my furlough. And in case you guys didn't know that, that's this weekend only. Otherwise, all contributions always go to the channel fund, which includes travel and equipment for the channel. G says Thailand won't risk people coming in with fake proof of vax cards, hence requiring 14 days regardless. Well, look, if governments can't figure out a way to look at a card or medical records and figure out what is fake and what is not, then they're going to have tremendous problems. Anyway, those fake cards have been a concern of mine as well, with people coming in. However, you think about it like this: if you've got people that are coming in using a fake card, and the people around them are inoculated, what's going to happen? I mean, who are they going to infect, right? I don't. That's just my humble opinion. Cheap Charlie says, I think all the Asian countries have been way too cautious through this ordeal. Most of them you can't even get to right now anyway. Yeah, and I'm inclined to agree with you, Charlie. I think the abundance of caution, I think the abundance of caution is a little bit overwhelming and is going to be daunting on the tourism, on the foreign tourism industry as a whole. I'm going to read some stuff here in a minute that's going to really get the wheels turning for people up here, and we'll see if we can make some sense out of it. Tim says, Montelli says, I don't trust any of it. Ties know the truth. Fair enough. Tim says, we as species need to move freely. If not, you become the country that is directly north of South Korea. That's a good point, Tim. Rocco says a sandbox with no entertainment. Yep, that's what's really going to kill it, man. Sorry if my mic is clipping, TJ. I'm still working on the audio there. I can definitely turn down the gain on the mic just by doing that. We'll see if that helps any at all. Sorry if it's really loud. I'm still working on compression apps and that kind of thing. I'm not an audio engineer, but I'll work on it. And I said the Thai people are terrified. That's 100% accurate. This is stoked by the news media. The government is acting accordingly. Agreed. We see the same thing in the U.S. when you have fully jabbed people wearing masks in a car by themselves. 100% understand. Yeah, I turned the game down, TJ, so I hope that works a little bit. Ross says, need 30 days after last jab to be fully good to go. Okay, so they wait 30 days after their last jab to be fully good to go. After that, then what's the excuse? That's my question. Ty Guy Bride, good to see you, man. He says, just had my first jab and can't sleep. A lot of people run into issues like that that I've heard of, and it gets better according to the people that I've talked to. Unfortunately, there are some accidents that happen with these things, but we're not going to talk about those right now. Tim says trolls taste good. I hear you. Senior Frank, the V's do not prevent you from getting, carrying, spreading. It ups your immunity and lessens your reaction ability to spread. Having a V will not prevent you from bringing something with you. Yes, I am aware of that. 100%. But the the sentiment behind these jabs are that you're protected from the grave consequences that it could have on someone else or yourself, that the illness could have. So that's why the Phuket Sandbox Model and Pattaya's model, their scheme, seem to be running into all kinds of problems. I'm going to get into that in just a second. Filtho says, would it promote tourism if they require testing by anal swabs? Would seem compatible with what their policies are doing to travelers anyway. I would think that would decrease the amount of tourists that want to come over. Lyle says, yesterday's live stream did hit 50 thumbs. I went back and watched the whole thing this afternoon. Awesome, Lyle. That was an awesome stream yesterday. It really was. I'm super grateful, man. It was absolutely amazing. Still can't believe it. Anon says, Senior Frank, in practice, we are seeing different effects in the U.S. Look at infection rates. Frank says, I live in Bangkok, got my first jab on Thursday. My school paid for all the expenses. Yeah, I had a similar setup, but it kind of fell through. Anon says, filters depends upon what kind of tourist you want. Might cause an increase of tourism for SFO. I hear you, man. Tim says, we cannot make travel plans to Thailand until we have more solid ground from Thailand itself. I agree. I agree with that statement, Tim. And the Royal Gazette is supposed to publish, the CCSA and I guess the Department of Disease Control and maybe another Thai government entity or whatever. They're supposed to come out with all this information in this upcoming week. So look for Royal Gazette publishings to determine exactly how what the laws and what the policies will be surrounding the opening, particularly in Phuket. They're going to focus on Phuket first. Now, Philtho says that Anon just figured since they're already bending tourists over, may as well take a swab when they're down. That's crazy. But it's funny. Yep, they got a breath test for it. That's true. Another super sticker from Cheap Charlie. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Autumn and Asia says, hello, almost miss you again. I'm glad you didn't, Autumn. Glad you didn't miss us again. Glad you're here. Anon says, at G, fake jab cards, then why did they have 7 days in the beginning before wave number 3? Then how will the sandbox work? It's a good question. Montelli says, those using any PDF editor and some card stock. Well, again, we're going to pull that down. YouTube's going to have a field day with this live stream. You're probably right, Montelli, but I don't. I personally don't know how to do it, so I don't know. But like we said yesterday, the people that are going to come back to Thailand to the Phuket reopening for sure are going to be the diehard Thailand fans and the expats that have a vested interest in coming here. That could be a girlfriend, could be a wife, could be property they have, could be a business they own, all that stuff. What's up, Travel TV? Very good to see you. Open up. I got to get out of Florida. I hear you, brother. They're going to open, according to everything I've heard, but I'm going to get into that after I get caught up with the comments. Mark says, this might raise your blood pressure. Our fearless leaders in the U.S. allowed citizens of one select country to enter the U.S. without determining their C status. I was aware of that, Mark, and it is laughable. Absolutely laughable. Eric says, anxiety over the jab. Yep, I have anxiety over the jab. I'm a little more scared of it than I am the actual illness itself, but that's just me. Gregory says he's had both jabs and no major reaction. That's good. Great. There is Stuck in Florida. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Missed you yesterday, but good to see you today. The family did an unbelievable job yesterday, Stuck. It was absolutely amazing. I am at probably one of the most is humblest even a word? One of the humblest points of my life due to yesterday. Full of gratitude and just can't believe that yesterday actually happened. So it was amazing stuff. Senior Frank says, Thailand has nowhere near the rate of inoculated as the U.S. In fact, not many countries are. Not enough data to make an informed decision about bringing people in without queue. Right, everybody saying hello. One second, guys. I apologize. Got to catch this message. Hate to interrupt the live stream, but had to catch that one. Okay. Let's see. They could import something else from China other than the those jabs. Yeah, no, that's possible. Senior Frank says, clearly the answer is more visas for Thailand. The sooner they get to 70%, the sooner things can relax. I agree. I've been saying that all along, and I agree with you. Steve at south of us. Yeah, I understand, Mark. I think most people would. Anon says, Senior Frank, the U.S. saw rates crater, and the U.S. is only at 50% jabbed. Tim says, everybody, we done did good yesterday. Yes, you did. Stuck to Florida says, sorry, I was busy doing more life. Well, then no need to be sorry. Did you know life was named Nikki? I like that, man. I like that. Good one, Stuck. That's a good one. All right, so let me get into some of this stuff that some of the rumors and some of the rumor mill that you heard or that you may have heard yesterday. I'll get into it and we'll see if we can talk about. First, I want to read you the story about Pattaya or Pattaya. They've had a little bump in the road here. So here's what's happening. Pattaya has been working on its reopening plan, aiming to bring back international tourism in the fourth quarter of 2021. Officials have launched the Pattaya Move On scheme. So the Phuket scheme is called the Sandbox Model. The Pattaya scheme is called Move On. Okay. Which aims to open back up the popular tourist city in October, but the Public Health Ministry disagrees with their plan so far. So they're getting pushed. Pattaya City is getting pushed back from the Health Ministry. The goal is to reopen Pattaya without the need for any sort of queue for all international tourists that are fully inoculated. It would, or fully jabbed, whatever you want to call it. It would allow these tourists to sidestep the current 14-day queue and enjoy Pattaya freely. They would be limited to staying within the confines. See, here we go again. Limits. Listen. They would be limited to staying within the confines of Banglamung and Sattahip district for the first week after they arrive. In order for this reopening to occur, officials plan on having more than 2/3 of the Pattaya population, especially hospitality workers, fully vaccinated. That plan would require nearly 1 million vaccines in order to fully jab at least 450,000 residents of the city. The plan is being met with some pushback from the Public Health Ministry, who fears that Pattaya is not in the same situation as Phuket, the island province that is geographically better positioned for a sandbox reopening. Unlike Phuket, with restricted access to entering and exiting the island, Pattaya is a coastal city with many traffic arteries flowing much more freely in and out of the city. Regulating and restricting movement for incoming international tourists would present a logistical challenge. Well, I mean, everything's a logistical challenge. The acting president of the Chonburi Tourism Council said that despite these roadblocks, Pattaya is adamant about moving forward and taking steps towards eventually reopening fully. Keyword there, eventually. They have planned to implement sealed route restrictions during August and September to create a sort of dry run. If successful, will pave the way to the full international reopening that they hope to achieve in October. If you don't know what that means, basically they are going to route people. They're going to cut off several routes into Pattaya and only use certain routes for people to come in and out of the city. They're to give a dry run of what this stuff. Yes, love Thailand. That may be correct. If this soft reopening of Pattaya is implemented as proposed, arriving international tourists would be required to queue for between 3 and 5 days in their hotels, regardless of whether or not they are fully inoculated. Okay? You hear what I just said? Still going to have to queue, regardless. After the queue, travelers would only be allowed to explore locations that have been pre-approved and met the hygienic standards of the Safety and Health Administration. Just an overabundance of caution, and it's let me read you this article real quick. Let me catch the comments. Filtho says, I don't know if this comment can stand, but J&J has had 60 million doses of the jab rejected due to cross-contamination. Yeah, I read about that, and no, it can't stand. I heard about that, and then the spokesperson got on and said that, there was nothing wrong, blah, 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 all that too. Can't leave numbers in there. Love Thailand, but appreciate you bringing that up. Lyle's keeping count, 22 up, 3 down. If you hadn't hit the thumbs up button, please do so. Eric says it would require 1 million jobs to distribute 400,000. I got an email from one of you. I'll check it after the stream. Eric says, being jobs to fully distribute 400,000 plus. Did anyone else catch that? Jabs. It would require 1 million jabs, 400,000 plus. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I was going to say, I think Thailand is closer to 6% right now. And appreciate you providing the link on there. Thank you. So yesterday, this was the big news that came out, and then it was immediately struck back down by the highest levels of government here. And I want to read what it says. It says, update. Tourism Minister reportedly says July 1 Sandbox won't happen. So it says, by the conclusion of a meeting in Phuket this afternoon, this was yesterday, the only confirmation was that the July 1 date for reopening of Thailand via the Phuket Sandbox was still on, according to Bill Barnett from C9HotelWorks.com, who attended the meeting. More details when they emerge. Bottom line, nothing is confirmed until the Thai cabinet discusses the issue, probably Tuesday, and then gets rubber stamped in the Royal Gazette. The governor of the Tourism Authority of Thailand, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. It starts with a Y. His first name starts with a Y, last name with an S. Has pulled out of a meeting this afternoon, which was to be the announcement of all details for the Sandbox plan, the reopening plan for Thai tourism. The meeting also had the Phuket governor and the president of the local chapter of the TAT in attendance. This is the original story. With all the hullabaloo around, that's what it says, July 1, Phuket Sandbox reopening that will definitely, maybe, possibly, probably not, surely happen. News readers should be prepared for a month of flip-flopping, confusing, and contradicting stories. Today, CM Rath reported that Thailand's tourism minister has commented that the reopening will not happen on July 1st. At a meeting of tourism officials in Bangkok, including the deputy governor of Surat Thani and representatives from Koh Samui, Koh Phangan, and Koh Tao. Thailand Tourism Minister Pipat, last name starts with R, was quoted by CM Rath as saying that Phuket is unlikely to be ready to reopen by the 1st of next month. He reportedly stated that reopening will happen on August 1st instead. The Tiger, which is where I'm reading this from, hasn't been able to independently verify the comment. The representatives from the Eastern Islands proposed a Samui sealed route plan that would be something similar to the way that they flow traffic into, like Pattaya, for example. One route into Samui would create a corridor between Phuket and the islands. They suggested arriving tourists could spend July 1st to July 7th in Phuket and then board a Bangkok Airways flight straight to Koh Samui, where they could spend their second week. Travelers would be tested 3 times as originally proposed, but now in Phuket and Samui, and then be free to travel in the rest of Thailand after 2 weeks. The plan would spread tourism revenue around the country a bit, but also soften the blow of the 2-week waiting period by allowing tourists to wait in 2 locations. But when they proposed the plan, the tourism minister reportedly responded by saying the idea was good, but Phuket was not ready yet for reopening. He was quoted as saying that the plan could be launched starting August 1st instead. This startling revelation, while not at all an official announcement, is very contrary to a concerted push by government officials to charge full steam ahead on the Phuket Sandbox reopening scheme, despite a growing list of factors fighting against the plan. The estimate of returning travelers entering Thailand via Phuket was recently reduced again, this time halved to about 14,000 people, as jab delays, increased restrictions, and bar closures dissuade people from visiting. Note, the Tiger believes that the Sandbox plan will go ahead no matter what. There is now too much political capital and face invested in the scheme for it to fail. We will see. I agree. I think that the plan will go ahead and will open on July 1st. Now, whether it's successful or not, that is yet to be seen. There will be I'll say this: don't be surprised if there's a lot of politicking around it, because typically that's what happens with things here. So take it kind of with a grain of salt, and look forward to it. We have a super chat. Thank you very much, Mr. Jazz. Jazz says we have a PayPal too. Greetings from the great state of Georgia, home of the peaches, peanuts, and 100% humidity all the time. Thanks, Jazz. I appreciate the super chat, bud. We have received our first PayPal of the day, and I would like to say thank you very much to Mr. Gregory. Just to add to the survival fund in Thailand at the moment, as saw your video yesterday, stay positive and look after yourself, mate. Gregory, I appreciate that very, very much. It's $11.07, and I'm going to hide his full name there, but I appreciate that. Appreciate that 100%. So thank you very much, Gregory. And thank you, Jazz, for the super chat. I appreciate that. Everything helps. You guys are awesome. Absolutely awesome. Matt Tech says his usual greeting and apology for his tardiness. In fact, sorry for everything for which I'm blameworthy. You're all good, Matt Tech. Let's see. That was a true statement back in April. Anon's talking to Philto. Senior Frank says Anon, that is first dose completely fully beat, is under 3% as of Friday. I think in any event, it is nowhere near what the U.S. was when numbers started to drop. That's a fair statement. And I agree. I think that, there's a lot of work to do here in Thailand. There was a ton of delays. The rollout was delayed, and we all know that. The Thai government has even taken responsibility for it and has apologized for it, and seems to be moving forward. Now, I will say that there was another report that a high-ranking member of the government came out after what I just read you yesterday and said that the July 1st plan was still on. It will still happen. It will still go down the way it is set to go down. What I want to read you is some very interesting articles from the Bangkok Post, and I will get to those a little bit. Tim forgives Matt Tech. That's good. Tim says a definite possibility of a maybe sounds correct from Thailand. Jim says, sorry, but not wasting time or money traveling Southeast Asia until next year. This is going to be ugly for the rest of the year. In my opinion, I think you have a fair point there, Jim. I think it is. I think it is going to be ugly and realistically, it's going to be confusing for a lot of people, especially with the back and forth. It's going to be confusing. Tim says, me, no problem. Of course, I am nobody. So, and I said, talking to Frank, says, I understand, but that has nothing with doing 14 days queue for Jab tourist or the Sandbox Jab tourist. And Senior Frank says, my point is that Thailand is not where the U.S. is, and until more people get to be, it is not likely that travel will be relaxed to no queue and free travel. And that's, I would agree with both of you have points, and I would agree. MedTech says, hello, Stuck. Return in the moment. Now sprint in the parking lot. Tim says, I don't know which is worse, the actual not being able to travel with everything closed or the knowing you cannot travel with everything closed. That is really, that's like anticipation of something you know is going to happen versus it actually happening. Yeah, I agree. Love Thailand says, I'm supposed to land in Phuket on July the 11th, but will decide on the 25th of June if I really want to put up with no entertainment and being treated like a parolee. Odds are I'll delay again. So sad. It is sad, and I hate that people feel that way. I really do, because tourism needs to come back big time to Thailand. Like big time needs to come back to Thailand. And to be fair, you know, the having to spend 14 days on Phuket, while they have announced in here that let me get into this Bangkok Post article real quick so you guys can understand what I mean. In fact, it may be in the Pattaya news. Let's see. I'll talk about the easing of Bangkok restrictions. There's also hotel. Let me read this first. This is something that just came out. This is from the Pattaya news, and this is regarding hotels in Phuket. So, press release: Phuket gears up for the return of international guests with attractive packages at world-class hotels and resorts. The following is a press release. The statements within are their own. European markets are expected to be the first to arrive following the launch of the Phuket Sandbox on July 1st, 2021, which invites vaccinated visitors to fly direct to the Pearl of the Andaman and stay without the need for queue. From Phuket, Thailand, the wait is almost over. Phuket will welcome international travelers back to its pure shores on July 1st, 2021. Following the start of the Phuket Sandbox Initiative. To celebrate this long-awaited milestone, hotels and resorts across the island have created a series of promotions and packages to reward overseas guests for returning to the Pearl of the Andaman. The island's hospitality industry is abuzz with anticipation. While Phuket has been delighted to serve the domestic market over the last 15 months, it has missed its cherished international clientele. The first guests expected to arrive will be from traditional long-haul European markets such as UK, France, Germany, Russia, and Scandinavia. They will be able to enter the island without the need for a queue, as long as they have been fully jabbed against the illness and fly direct to Phuket. See, this is conflicting because last week it was you can fly to Bangkok and then they'll transport you to Phuket, and then In this article, it says you have to go straight to Phuket. This is where the confusion comes in, right? After 7 days in Phuket, visitors are free to travel wherever they want in Thailand. Well, we know that's not true. Like, they're talking about 14 days, not 7. These first responders will be greeted with warm Southern Thai smiles from a community that has been over 70% jabbed to ensure the safety of locals and visitors alike. Hospitality companies have also implemented enhanced health and safety protocols in line with official guidance from Thai authorities and the World Health Organization. So all visitors can relax with complete peace of mind as they enjoy Phuket's idyllic ambience and spectacular scenery. The Slate is inviting guests to experience its stunning art-inspired pool suites and villas with a wealth of added extras. Talking about like a family suite, airport transfer, daily breakfast, 15% off all food, non-alcoholic beverages, and spa treatments throughout the stay. Travelers who book the Slate's stunning private pool suites will also receive a 60-minute massage for 2 people at Cocoon Spa, the breathtaking wellness center, and guests who stay in the Sublime Pearl Shelf Suites. Now, there are other hotels on here. You can read this article on the PattayaNews.com. It just came out today. Clearly, this is publicity to draw people in. And, you know, it's conflicting information. It just is. 7 days to 14 days. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe they decide to go with the 7 days. That would be beneficial, in my opinion, to bring back the tourism. Now, let me get to these. I want to read you this because I found this very interesting. This is an article from the Bangkok Post, and it says the highlight of the article is no queue, right? So the whole purpose of this article is no queue. I'm going to go catch comments in just a second, guys. Wow, got another PayPal in. Thank you very, 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 very much for the PayPal. And the email comes up and it says, if it loads, it says, thanks for being real and upfront. You are very welcome, Mr. B. I haven't seen you before, so I won't put your name out there, but $15 PayPal right there. Absolutely fantastic. Guys, thank you so much for the contributions. You really have no idea how much you guys are helping out. I really appreciate it. The title of this and the release is set for, it was published June 13th, which is today at 7:11 a.m. this morning. Today is the 13th here, right? Hang on, let me check my date. Yep. Okay, so it says, no quarantine under Phuket Sandbox from the TAT. This is directly from the Bangkok Post. There will be no queue for foreign visitors under the Phuket Sandbox scheme, and their 2-week confinement to the island will suffice, the Tourism Authority of Thailand chief said on Saturday. The TAT is involved in reviewing the tourism sandbox scheme ahead of the island's reopening to foreign tourists on July 1. The reopening plan for the island, known as the Phuket Sandbox, is meant for fully vaccinated tourists from countries with a low or medium risk of transmission. The island is pinning its hopes of a revival on the scheme, while other resort areas are watching closely as they too seek a route to reopen to tourists. The TAT governor, the guy that starts with a Y, first name Y, last name starts with S, paid a visit to the island yesterday, during which he made the remarks, quote, I assure you there will be no quarantine. The TAT will support Phuket's efforts to restore its tourism industry, said Mr. Utasak? Not sure if I pronounced it right. The TAT is also stepping up plans to improve Phuket's reputation and emphasize safety in the build-up to high season. When the reopening takes place, this is quotes from the same gentleman. When the reopening takes place, we have to make sure tourists are impressed by our measures from their journey from the airport to their hotels. That journey will also involve 3 screening procedures in addition to tracing measures and mandatory use of the phone tracking apps being imposed on the first rounds of foreign arrivals, he said. Now, does that sound like something that a tourist, I'm just asking the questions, that as a tourist looking to come to a country, the journey will involve 3 screening procedures. To me, that's a hassle if I'm a tourist. Then I have to add a mandatory tracking app on my phone where my privacy is now not private. I'm not sure that makes me feel better as a tourist coming in. Perhaps some people will look at it as that's awesome. Thailand is taking extreme safety measures and they're going to keep track of everyone. Everything's going to be great. I'm so glad to go there because it's going to be super safe. And if that's the way that tourists are going to look at it, then it should work flawlessly. And my hat's off to these guys. But for me personally, as a tourist, and I know many tourists, if I'm coming in to a country like that and they have that many procedures that I'm going to have to go through, it's kind of like, you know, it downplays the it kind of lowers the mood, right, on my excitement of coming to Thailand. And then I know I'm going to be tracked. Then I also know I'm going to be confined. That's what it said in here. Confined to the island of Phuket, which as of right now is not going to have any nightlife or entertainment venues open. And we haven't heard anything about being able to serve alcohol. So am I excited about that as a tourist coming back? I guess it depends on the tourist, right? You know, it goes on to talk about these will form the backbone efforts and the measures the island is taking towards becoming the first province to achieve herd immunity and reopen its tourist industry in the wake of the illness have received a lot of positive feedback, they say. However, everyone must remember this is a process that must be undertaken step by step. So, I found that article extremely interesting because of the fact that they're highlighting no queue, but you can't leave the island and there's only a limited amount of things to do while you're here. All right, to the comments. Jim says, let's be honest, most people have limited vacation time. That's a big point. And need every single day to enjoy and experience everything you have planned. No time to be wasting days for politics to play out. I'm not going to say politics to play out, but I'm going to say for these queues and these restrictions to play out. I see your point, Jim. Personally, my own personal opinion is very similar to yours. Other people may see it differently. Other people may see it as a safe, secure way to come into Thailand, and they're very excited by the safety of it, possibly. Again, the vast majority of people that I know that are tourists that want to come to Thailand see these extra precautions as more of a hassle. However, Thailand's trying to be as safe as possible, so we can't give them too much. Can't give them a hard time. India open to Thailand. I have no idea. Jay, I'm just going to call you Jay. I can't pronounce your name. I apologize. Gregory says, just to add to the survival fund, Jeremy, thank you, Gregory. I appreciate that very much. Rocco says, I am half ready for travel. Will be set for autumn, but Thailand is not even on the list at the moment. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that because there's nothing solid and concrete. There's a lot of talk, a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of positive stuff being said. a lot of negative stuff being said, but nobody knows for sure. At least not the public know for sure. And I'm not saying that even the different departments of the Thai government, these authorities such as the CCSA, the Ministry of Health, the Department of Disease Control. I don't even know if they know. They may know, but the public hasn't been given any kind of concrete certainty as to what's going to happen. It looks like we're going to wait for a week or two before we know that. Just like schools being open, they can open now, but at the same time, um, uh, many schools are not. For example, Karat is not reopening. I read an article about that this morning. They're not reopening until the end of the month, which is when our schools plan to, the company that I work for, our schools plan to reopen as well at that time, which is why yesterday was such a special day. I'm furloughed, partially furloughed. There should be 4 more days this month that I get to work, to the best of my knowledge, and that will give me a half month pay, which is why we had such a big day yesterday, and why I'm so grateful for you guys. James says, good morning, everyone. Bob says, good evening. Just got home. That's all right, Bob. It's good to see you, brother. I'm glad you're here. Chief Charlie says, I want to go to India real bad. My number one country for travel right now. I don't know when it's reopening. Me personally, I stay away. That's just me. Right now, I would like to go there one day, but right now just doesn't seem like the time for me. But if you've been jabbed, and you're fully jabbed, then why not? Go for it, man. And can't wait to see the videos. Jazz says, stuck in Florida, facts. LOL. Stuck says you forgot pecans. That's true. Talking about Georgia, you can get pecans on every exit on I-75 all the way down to Florida. And that's true. I've been through Georgia a couple times. And I said, Senior Frank, there are 2 different points. One, if the jabs were ineffective at preventing infection, the infection rate in the U.S. would not have gone down no matter how many people were jabbed. 2, from that, if the jabs are effective, then the queue should be reduced for jab people. If not, then why bother with the panic jab rollouts around the world, including Thailand? I think those are fair statements. And Senior Frank says, in response, it is one of the metrics they're using to make decisions. At the current rate, they will get the percent where it needs to be soon enough, and this discussion will be moved. That's a fair point too, Senior Frank. Fair point. Chief Charlie says, don't think I've ever had pecans outside of pecan pie. Oh, man, you got to try to crack open a fresh pecan one time. It's dry, but it's good. Anon says that, Tim, maybe the answer to your question is go to Spain this year. Spain sounds pretty good. Spain is open from what I know. Jerry Time says, with the Phuket Sandbox, can you bring a drinking companion back to your room? I understand bars are closed, but let's say I meet the drinking companion online. I don't see why not. Virtually every hotel that I'm aware of in places like Phuket, Pattaya, they're all guest friendly. So I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. The online business in that sector is booming right now. Just FYI on that, Jerry. And you may already know that. So that's something to keep in mind. Just because the bars and stuff are not open doesn't mean that your drinking companions or personal trainers or tour guides are not available, because they certainly are. You just have to know how to find them. Jazz says, what is the best way to get from Bangkok Airport to Pattaya? I still can't figure out. Bus, train, taxi. Either one of those. Personally, since I've been using Bolt, the Bolt app, you can download it. It's Bolt, BOLT. I did a video on it. You can look it up. Just got news from the Tiger. TAT declares Phuket is ready for open on July 1st. That was breaking right there. That was the beep you just heard on my phone. So you can get a taxi through Bolt fairly cheap. They are the cheapest operating company that I use here. They're cheaper than Grab, cheaper than most private companies. And taxi saves you a lot of headache. You can definitely get there by bus. Getting there by bus is the cheapest way and probably one of the most common ways to get there. I wouldn't take a train myself. That would be unnecessary time lost to take a train there. I think you can get there by train, but I wouldn't take it. MedTech says success can come at any age, although clearly younger is better. I agree, MedTech. Anon says, at Jerry time, you mean a personal aerobics instructor? Maybe she will need to be SHA plus certified before she could give you a lesson in your room. That's possible. And for those of you that don't know what SHA plus certified is, that is the safety and health something that Thailand has created for the hotels that are going to be having these people come or the hotels that are going to have the foreign tourists coming back in and staying at those hotels. They have to be SHA plus certified, and that is for the safety measures in terms of cleanings and just safety in general around the illness. Cheap Charlie says, Jazz, you can take a taxi for about 1,500 baht from the airport, or if you want to go cheap, catch a bus from Ekamai bus station to Pattaya, 130 baht plus 200 baht taxi airport bus station. That's right. That's exactly correct, Charlie. Jerry Time says, how does the aerobics instructor become SHA certified? It's all confusing. I think that was more of a joke. I don't believe they have to be SHA certified. I think that was a joke. Charlie says, I usually take a taxi because I'm tired from my flight and it's twice as fast. Me too. Charlie, I even take taxi from Bangkok usually, but I haven't been to Pattaya in, I guess it's been, 2 months now? 2.5 months, 3 months, maybe 3 months. It's been a while. Filtho says, while there are many of us looking forward to return to Thailand, Southeast Asia in general, has Thailand realized that their indecision means that we are not exactly beating down the doors anymore? I think, that's a very good point. And I think that indecisiveness is going to harm confidence of tourists coming to Thailand. And personally, I believe that the more indecision we have here in Thailand is inevitably going to bring about a smaller, not invitation, but a smaller population of foreign tourists that will come in simply because they don't know. They read this stuff. They keep up with this stuff. Many of you are watching this channel because you want to keep up with this stuff. And I'm doing my very, very best to make sure that you can keep up with this stuff. So I feel like the more indecision there is, the less confidence tourists will have coming back. I also feel the more restrictions and the more restrictions, the more tests, the more measures, the more tracking apps and all this stuff. I feel like the more there is of that, the less tourists are going to be interested in. However, again, there's a flip side to that coin where there are people coming from other countries who will feel like that is extraordinary and that Thailand is doing a great thing by being so safe and cautious. So there's two sides of that coin. And I'm not saying my opinion is correct. I'm just saying there are two sides of that coin, and both can be considered with legitimacy. Anon says, Jerry Time, that's why it is Phuket quick sandbox. Yeah, we talked about that one. Jazz says, Stuck says something. Jazz says, Cheap Charlie, is it a traditional type taxi or a ride share like Uber? Is it reliable? I'm guessing pretty reliable. He says, Jazz, the taxi is stand at the airport, perfectly reliable, and will get you to your door quick. And he's 100% right. When you get off the plane, there are taxis outside. You just tell them where you want to go in Pattaya and give them the address to your hotel. They'll take you straight to the door. And that's one way to do it. Or you could use a app like Bolt or something like that. Get your private taxi and maybe get it a little bit lower than 1,500 baht. But if you're coming on vacation, you probably have 1,500 baht to spend. That's about what, $45, something like that, I think, to get there. So not bad at all. Jerry Time says, yes, I was considering it, but if all I can do is go to the beach and go back to sleep, it isn't worth it. And that's my point. That's my point. Even with all these restrictions and the multiple screenings and the tests, the tracing app, all that stuff, if the nightlife was open, the restaurants were open, and there was no alcohol ban, then I could still see this plan thriving. Like, I could still see it thriving. I really could. But with people coming over without those three things, it's very limiting in certain aspects, and it just makes you wonder what the reaction will be. Personally, I want to be sure I'm 100% clear on this. My hope is that it works flawlessly, that we get all 1.2 million or 1.4 million, whatever the estimate was, foreign tourists back into Thailand as soon as possible. That is my hope. Thailand needs it. I just watched a video from Integrity Legal this morning that said 2 to 3 million hospitality workers were still out of work due to all this. And that's sad. That's a lot of people out of work in this country. And the quicker they can get back to work, the level of the confidence level of the Thai people will grow, and the confidence level of the people that come over here on who are tourists will grow. Essentially, what you want tourists to come over here and have a wonderful experience. That's what you're looking for, because then they're going to post on their social media, come to Thailand. This has been awesome. Come to the Phuket Sandbox Model. Is awesome. It's great. You guys have to come to Thailand, right? You want that information flowing over the internet, over people's social media. You want it to get out online. You want TripAdvisor reviews. You want all those things, and you want them all to be as positive as possible. With all these restrictions and with the businesses still closed, I'm just not sure you're going to get that. That's my fear. That's my fear for Thailand. And I hope that it works to perfection. I really do. Roy says the beach areas of Rawai and Naihan Beach plus Phuket Town have a large local and expat community, with most places open right now. Well, that's interesting. And I hope it stays that way, Roy, for sure. Charlie says, I never use Uber taxis, are great in Thailand, well, except Phuket, where they are overcharging my Senior Frank says, and the Thai government and health officials feel differently and have made a different assessment. Like I said, this will probably be a moot point in a couple of months. It will. It's like the old saying, if you don't like the weather in Texas, sorry guys, one sec. Clear this email out. If you don't like the weather in Texas, wait 5 minutes. Same could be said for the news in Thailand. Fair point, Senior Frank. Filtho says Phuket's idyllic ambience and stunning scenery. Sounds more like they're talking about DoMoreLife channel membership, and it's an extraordinary value too. Thank you, Filthos. I appreciate that. Yes, channel membership is always an option here, guys. And there's some interesting content for my members on there. And I've got a week coming up, as I told you guys yesterday. I have to work tomorrow, which is Monday and Friday of this week, as of right now. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I plan on going on a content making mission to make some videos I've been wanting to make and try to get some more information out there and some of that involves members only content. So we'll see what we can do about that. But thanks for the comment, Philthos. Tim says 29 thumbs up and 3 thumbs down. Good, we're doing great. Anna says, Senior Frank, I hope you're right about being moot. I don't care about Sandbox, and 14-day queue is a done deal for me, but I do care about interprovincial travel after I'm done with queue. And that's a fair point. And I know what he's saying is he's already booked everything for him is already booked. He's going to do the 14-day queue and here in Bangkok and be done with it. He's worried about being able to travel wherever he wants to go after he gets here, and that's really a whole nother chat, to be honest with you. Charlie says another option is to spend a night or two in Bangkok, then take a bus or taxi from the street. Taxi from the street in Bangkok you can get for around 1,000 baht, or just take BTS to bus station and bus trip 130 baht. Very good point, Charlie. Anna says, to Charlie, it will be nice if when they get the high-speed rail done to Pattaya. And I agree with that 100%. I read an article on that recently that it was going to be put into, they were going to be backing it up heavily. Aubrey says, hello, JC. I see that you are still holding it down. Yes, I'm trying. Aubrey, thank you for joining the chat. I appreciate it. Tim says quicksand. I get it. Gregory says, really, I don't care about the screening or the tracking app if I am just visiting, as prefer to be found if I have entered a exposure site, even if I've had the jab. And see, there you go. That's the flip side of the coin. That there's nothing that if it doesn't bother you, then it doesn't bother you, and there's no you don't see it as an inconvenience. You see it as a safety measure, and that's 100% valid, 100% legit. I can't base this on facts because I don't know, but in my humble personal opinion, I don't feel like the vast majority of tourists are going to feel the same way you feel, Gregory. However, I hope they do. If Thailand leaves those procedures in place, I really hope people feel the same way, 100%. Anon talking to me says, as far as the mandatory tracking app, you have to have that as a tourist any place in Thailand. That's part of the agreement on the COE. Well, I wasn't aware of that. I haven't had to get a COE, so I do have a tracking app on my phone. But the tracking app, one thing I want to make sure you guys understand, the tracking app that I have doesn't, it's not they say it's not linked to your phone at all times, and you're not monitored all the time. What you do is when you go to certain places, you scan in with the app, and then you scan out when you leave. So it logs the date, the time, and your location on where you were at. So if there is a cluster that pops up in that area, you can be notified that you need to be tested right away, that kind of thing. MetTech says, what if tourists doesn't own smartphone? Will Thailand provide free smartphone? That's a great question, MetTech. I have no idea. I really have no idea. But that would be a very interesting, that would be a good question to ask somebody that actually knew, because I don't think many people will come here without one, and I get your point. But that's an very interesting question. Good question. Senior Frank says, Anon, it may take a minute, but if the V rollout keeps moving at the current pace, then there won't be problems with travel. There won't be tourists for a while, but the travel will get easier. That's fair. I can see that happening. Gregory says, oh yeah, if no smartphone, how will that work? Yeah, that is a good point. Charlie says, what about tourists who don't he goes through with the smartphone? Fair points, guys. I don't have an answer for that. MedTech, I'm going to pull that one down just because of the way it's worded. No offense, my brother. We'll leave that one alone, but I understand your point. Anon says that Senior Frank, travel with no tourists is nice. Enjoyed it in January, February this year, and we'll enjoy July until the tourists come back. I agree. I had the opportunity to travel last year some without, and at some point this year I traveled a little bit too. Let's see. Let me move down. I was told to read. It was very interesting here. Oh, we got a Solo Road. Thank you for the super chat there, brother. Thumbs up for doing more life as always. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Lyle has issued a challenge, a PayPal Cash App challenge, which is pinned to the top of the page. He says 15 minutes, make me pay. So I guess until 10:30 my time, or maybe it's 11:30 on the East Coast. $75 US in 15 minutes, and he'll throw in another 25 PayPal or Cash App. So if we get $75 US in 15 minutes, Lyle will throw in another 25, making it an even 100. And that would really round off the best weekend for Do More Life ever. So, Lyle, thank you for throwing that challenge out there. We'll see if your challenge gets met. I appreciate that very, very much. Now, I have to go way back up to where I was to catch that. Ding Ding get $75 in 30 minutes. I put in 25. I'm way behind in comments. I apologize for that. I did not know that you were putting that out there, Lyle. But I do thank you, sir, for putting it out. We'll see if anybody hits it up. Might as well put ankle bracelets on all tours to be done with. I mean, it is what it is. You know, at this point, nothing would surprise me, Charlie, to be honest with you. That is funny, though. Montez says, I think an ankle monitor tracking and status should be added to the mountain of requirements needed to sit on the beach with your mask on, let the good times roll, no beer for you. Montelli always brings a positive light to everything. Love Thailand says, Chief Charlie, you are correct. Anon is talking to Met Take. He said, in the words of the public health minister, and there's a link you can follow. Mark says, will wives receive these tracking results when filing for divorce from their mischievous husband? That's a good question. That's a very good question, Mark. Roy says there's a regular bus from Savanabhumi to Pattaya for 130 baht, but at the moment won't start again until July 1st. I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that information. Anon says, Mark, fortunately, the database won't be subject to discovery by a U.S. court. That is funny. That's funny. Charlie says, to be fair, Thailand, at least they provide an opening for foreigners to get into the country. Most other Asian countries are completely closed. And I agree. That is fair. And to Thailand's credit, at least they are. Even if you do the old version, the standard 14-day queue, you can still come in the country. So, yeah, Charlie, you have a good point, and I agree. Lyle, ding ding, $75 US in 30 minutes. I'll put in 25. It's now down to 15 minutes, but that's okay. We'll see if anybody hits that, Lyle. Senior Frank says, Anon, you will probably be able to enjoy tourist-free travel around Thailand beyond July. I hope so. Wow, Anon, thank you. He's a fruitcake. Gregory says that really sucks for teachers with all the closures and not getting paid. Yes, it does. It does. It definitely does. There are many teachers not getting paid or getting half paid. And again, it's not the school's fault. Like the company I work for, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. I work for a private school. So if there are no customers, there's no money. It's that simple. Love Thailand says the only thing we know for sure is that the Thai government has plenty of time to change their minds again and again and again before the first. That's fair. That's fair. Love Thailand, because there have been many changes in the past at the last minute. There have been many revisions to plans and other things. So you have a very legitimate point there. Anon says, Senior Frank, I'm figuring almost completely tourist-free until October and partially until January 2022. I hope people come in before then, but there may be a lot of That may be logical, Anon. Lyle has a challenge. Yes, he does, Tim. Lyle has a challenge. I haven't seen anything come through, but we'll see. Mark says at MetTech, what's up with the name calling? Mark, the health minister, insulted. Oh, okay. I see. Tim says, been to Spain. I haven't been to Spain. I want to go to Spain. Stuck in Florida says, MetTech, that was March of last year when it all started. Not a nice thing to say, but it has nothing to do with the current situation. I'm lost on that conversation, so I'll let you guys talk about that. Charlie says, wonder how the tracking app would work for tourists who spend most of their time on Soy 6. I guess it would just mark them down as Soy 6 tourists. I have no idea. That's a good question. Good question. Stuck says, MetTech, honestly, I've said the same thing after a long bus ride sitting behind one. MetTech says, on a personal note, I shower more frequently in Thailand, several per day than USA, and I imagine I'm not alone. No, you're not alone. I do the same thing, and most Thais that I know shower more than once a day over here. Anon says to me, did you hear about another fresh incident with the Hasso? Yeah, there were 31 people that were arrested in Bangalore for they were supposedly the Hasso crowd for drinking alcohol, having a little party get together. Read about cases like that almost every day where people think they can get away with it, and all it takes is one tip off from somebody. Which is a good time for me to point this out. If someone, we have 8 minutes left in Lyle's challenge, by the way. If someone thinks they can get away with throwing a party or having an open bar behind the scenes or whatever the case may be, the Thais over here right now, because of the fear that they have, they will call the police and you will be found out about. So don't involve yourself in anything that you shouldn't be doing. If the Thai government has made it illegal or the Thai government has made it something that you shouldn't do, please don't do it. I'm begging you, don't do it. Has anyone heard about this alleged digital nomad visa? Yes, Gregory, I actually have some information on that. I'll be sharing later this week. The income requirements that I've heard are $40,000 a year, plus you have to make, or it's either and or you have to make a large investment in it's either the BOI or a Thai company. You have to be able to prove that you've made at least $40,000 a year for 2 years. And it's a possible 5-year visa or 10-year visa if you purchase a condo. In some cases, there's a whole lot of tightening that has to be done around that visa. These are just initial reports that have been put out about the digital nomad visa. Personally, myself, I hadn't made $40,000 a year since 2007, so it wouldn't do me any good anyway. But yes, the digital nomad visa is being strongly considered, and I would look forward to immigration doing some things to really bring back tourism and to bring back that, because it seems the more I read and the more I discover about Thailand, the more that immigration seems to be understanding the importance of the expat communities here, and also the expat business owners, and definitely the foreign tourists. So hopefully that's gonna inspire them to do some different things. Roy says, I'm seeing more new people here in Jomtien, mostly older guys. That's a good thing. Charlie says, Gregory sounds awesome if you can qualify for it. 10-year visa, but it's very hard to meet the requirements. That was my point in a nutshell, Charlie. So very good. Still under development is my understanding. That's true. And Charlie says, and it's still in the discussion phase, nothing concrete yet. Yep. Gregory says, I should look it up. Any suggested places to look on this? And there you go. Anon has just given you a link. Jim says, I'm not going to lie. I'm a single guy coming to Thailand to have fun and get away from the chaos in the States. Don't really want to hang around a hotel for 3.5 weeks. I can't blame you. And that's my fear. That's my fear for most of the tourists that are coming over here. Jim, that's my fear, that the hanging around the hotel or being confined to the island is not going to lure as many foreign tourists as Thailand thinks they'll be able to. It may be completely different. It may work out perfectly. I hope it does, but my fear is that it won't. And just for reference, I don't want to leave Lyle out. There's 4 minutes left in Lyle's challenge. His challenge was PayPal or Cash App. Total of $75, and he will throw in $25. He said make him pay. So looking to see what happens there. Anon says, Gregory, for teachers, look at this video. All right. Thanks again, Anon. Robert says, become a channel member. There's a channel member link if you guys are interested in that. Gregory says, oh, yes, I watched that one this morning, and I'm doing TEFL as a backup, but really just want to do the digital nomad thing. I can't blame you. Digital nomad would be an ultimate lifestyle for me as well. MedTech says, I'm as positive as my negativity permits, yet I'm still going. I like that. Then there's Ross. Ross says, Cheap Charlie, I know you like doing morning breakfast streams, but I keep missing due to sleep. Can you do some dinner live streams? There is Lyle's challenge again brought up, and we're about to run out of time on that with 3 minutes. Tim says Lyle is not screwing around, USD only. It just has to be the equivalent of USD. David says, hi, mate. Hey, David, good to see you. Just one question. Some expats over in Thailand, not very nice, speak to tourists thinking that Thailand only for them. Cheers. 100% correct. Those are the expats that you want to avoid at all costs. We can talk about that in the video. There are many people that have been over here a long time that don't respect the fact that this is still not their country. It may be their place of residence, but if you don't have a permanent residence card, I don't know that you can say, home is where the heart is. What you call it is what you call it. So yeah, stay away from those expats because they're going to think that they have the connections, they have the, they know the right people, they can do this, they know the right visa agent, and those people are more likely than not to lead you down a path of trouble. I would stay away. Ross says they can have a Fitbit type bracelet you can wear all over Thailand to show you're a visitor with a jab. That's true. MetTech says, I think it would be cheaper to queue in Bangkok than to spend 2 weeks in Phuket. Does anyone disagree? Can I order food to my room? Yeah, I know you can order food to your room in some of the queues, MetTech, but it may be cheaper to go to Phuket. It just depends on it really depends on what kind of where you want to stay, and do they still have this $1 one night program in Phuket? That was something that was going to be rolled out. I haven't heard anything else about it, so we don't know. Tim says they could be at the party and call the police. That's true. Second Florida says, MetTech, everything I've seen would say you are correct. Yeah, it could be cheaper to do the 14-day queue, and have food brought to your room. I know they allow, some places allow, I would check with the hotel first, but many of the places allow you to order grab and that kind of thing, and they'll bring it to you. I personally haven't experienced, but I know people that have. Tim says, I make beyond that now. That's good. That's very good, Tim. I wish I was. Hey, Robert V, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Tim Tim says, can we all just get along? I know, right? MedTech says, I'm planning to shut down for 10 weeks over the winter, so I should have eight weeks to explore Thailand. 8 weeks would be a good vacation, MedTech. Really would. Stuck in Florida says, Tim, no. We can't. He's talking about getting along. That's great. And I says, MedTech don't know about cost. Yes, you can order Grab Food or Food Panda to your room, as well as get stuff from 7-Eleven or Big C or Tops. And Anon has been in the 14-day queue before, so he would know. MedTech says, excellent, thank you. Ross says, for some old timers on pensions, the longer they are here, the more angry they get. I've noticed that too, Ross. I agree with you 100%. As they have seen the bot get stronger and their buying power has been reduced, I think that does have a lot to do with it as well. Anytime the bot gets stronger, or the dollar or the pound or the euro or whatever your currency is loses its strength against the bot, then you're going to see angry people because they're going to have less money. And unfortunately, that's just the way our society's set up right now. Money is a tool. I hear people tell me all the time, money is a tool, not the objective, or not the goal. And I'm starting to see more and more as I get older and as things happen in my life, how that works. Like yesterday, for example, was a great example of that. We made enough to carry me through the month. No questions asked on that. And I understand that's a tool to get me through the month. That's a tool to make sure that the bills got paid and everything else. And it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Tim says money is king, unfortunately. To a certain degree, I agree with that. Ross says money is the tool we trade to get things we want. Nothing more, nothing less. That's fair, Ross. That's a fair point. Senior Frank says ASQ hotels all have different rules. Best to contact the hotel before booking. Mine had no deliveries, but would do 7-Eleven runs for a small fee. Good point, Senior Frank. Thank you. Gregory says, sorry guys, have to run, things to do. Have a great day. You too, Gregory. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your comments, and thank you for being a channel member as well. Anon says, I always say to plan your budget based upon a crap exchange rate. So, hang on one second. Lyle has put in his $25 and a question mark with no one. I'm disappointed. No one. He with question mark. I cover up his full name, but he put in his 25 anyway. And Lyle, I definitely appreciate that, bud. Thank you. Didn't get the 75 to match, but you came through with your 25 and paid anyway. And again, you're just going to further the cause, and a tremendous help, and I appreciate that very, 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 very much, very much. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. A couple 25s make a lot of money, and I appreciate that. I really do. And I says, I always say to plan your budget based upon a crap exchange rate, like 25 to 1. Ooh, if you depend upon a foreign currency, that way you don't get rent poor, not just in Thailand, but any foreign country. That's fair. And that's also a legitimate thing to do. Tim says, well, we are saving up for next month if need be, Jeremy. Hey, it's all good, Tim. It's all good, man. After yesterday, I can't ask for more, for sure. So it's all good. Lyle put the challenge out there. That was Lyle's thing. I didn't ask, but I appreciate it very much. And Robert says, health is king. You know what, Robert? I cannot argue with that at all. I don't even think that's debatable, because without health, you could have all the money in the world and it's not going to do you any good. So very good point, Robert. Very good point. Mark says, thanks, JC, for your great stream. Today is my last day following you due to He is now under investigation for this in this stream and others. Mark, I'm not sure what you're talking about, bud. Are you joking or what? I'm not. I don't know what you mean. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. What did I miss? We don't do the I'm not coming back thing on this channel. This is a family, bro. We talk about it, talk it out. So whatever's going on, let's air it out right now and clear the air, because neither you nor MetTech needs to go anywhere. And there's certainly, I didn't see any hate speech from anybody. So I don't know what's happening. Ross says that Anon, great advice. 35 up, 4 down, no worries. Lyle says, thank you again, brother. MedTech says, some elderly people tend to lack patience because it's a reflection upon the fact that they have less time remaining. I hope to avoid this mindset as I age. Same here, MedTech. Same here. I hope to avoid that mindset as well, which is why I'm trying to do as much as I can right now. Anon says, MedTech, you talking about the get off my lawn mentality? Yeah, I've seen that get off my lawn mentality before. That doesn't work very well. Tim says he was joking, I think. Well, I don't have any more comments on that. The last comment to be made is yours, Tim, and I still don't know what's going on. Somebody feel free to message me and tell me what's happening, because I must have missed the conversation, that part of the conversation altogether. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we'll start to wind down the live stream here at an hour and a half. I want to thank, of course, my moderators, my channel members, anyone who made a comment in the live stream today. Thank you for being a part of the live stream. Really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without you guys. I want to thank everyone who contributed today, and also want to thank everyone who contributed yesterday. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I'm still truly grateful, and you guys have no idea what a load off my shoulders that was. MedTech says, no, I was serious about some elderly lacking patience. Common, unfortunately. Yeah, I see that. Anon says, another great stream. Y'all have a good day, great night. Thank you, Anon. Thanks for being here. Tim says, Met, know what Mark was talking about. Robert V says, I think Tim meant Mark was joking. Yeah, I hope Mark was joking. I certainly hope so. So, I don't know. Whatever that is, I hope we get it resolved. And if not, so be it. But I'm not sure. I don't know what happened. Anyway, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for a wonderful weekend. I hope the information that's come out has been great. I will get you guys some content this week, almost absolutely for certain. With the probably, maybe, definitely stuff here in Thailand, you just never know. But as of right now, you'll be getting content this week. So look forward to that. Channel members, we'll do some stuff, and I'll talk to you about that over some posts for the channel members. To everybody else, thank you guys again for everything. Love you guys, mean it. Love this family, and love these live streams. So by all means, I'll see you live again, at least at the latest next weekend, and probably before then. So that being said, whatever you do today, be sure to do more life. And Lyle says to refresh your bell notifications. That's a very good point. Go beside the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and click all for everyone. And that way you won't miss any content at all. Thanks for the reminder, Lyle. And thank you again to everybody who's done anything for this channel at any point in any time. Really appreciate it. Do more life, guys. I will see you later. Take care.